Let's go, insert name FC! My name is Hector, host of the Insert Name FC podcast, a member of the BellyUpSports Media Network. You can find us on all things podcasting, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast fix from, you will find us there at Insert Name FC. We also do have a YouTube channel where clips from these episodes are broken down into shorter videos that are easily to be digestible. You can find us at YouTube at Insert Name FC. That's where you can find us. Also, please like, subscribe, of course. And the full video version of this podcast is available on BellyUp's YouTube channel. So BellyUpSports, YouTube, just at BellyUpSports, you'll find us there. That's where you can find the full video version of this podcast. Now, the clips and the full video podcast is all available on GolzTV. Once again, Golz.tv, GOLZ.tv. That's where you can get us as well. Plus, a lot of great soccer content made here in the U.S., so go ahead and check that out as well. Also, you'll find me on from time to time in some of their original programming. But, all right, this episode, no Edward, because this was his weekend with the boys, but also it is his birthday. Edward is now is another year older in this world, and so me being a god-awful best friend, forgot. My mom reminded me. I did message him. I will be taking him out. I'll be taking him out to his favorite wing place at some point. And the reason why I say at some point is because, obviously with time and all that stuff, him being a father, and it's hard to find time to finally do things. As a matter of fact, point proven, Edward I went to his house to have some birthday cake with him, and he remembered he had a Christmas present from many years ago that he finally had to give me. And so, yeah, as a matter of fact, one of them is here. So I'll rock it for this episode. Yes, once again, me and Edward are huge Office nerds. So he got me this little gift box of like Office stuff, which came with like 2 pairs of socks, a World's Best Boss mug, and this beanie. I'm trying to think if there was anything else in it. No, that was pretty much it. But yeah, so I'll rock this for the entire episode, and I'll do it like this to pay homage to Lazy Scranton. If you guys have ever seen The Office, you get the reference. And also if you watch the video episode, besides the fact that if you're listening to the video version, this makes absolutely no fucking sense in the world. But yes, so no Edward this episode. This episode, we do have some topics. We're going to talk about Paxton and Aaronson's move to Colorado. Ezzy's supposed to go, Eberiche, Ezzy was supposed to go to Tottenham. Turns out that didn't happen. And we're going to talk about Vinny Jr. in this episode as well. And then we're also going to talk about the potential of regular season matches being played in the U.S. and my thoughts on that per se. We're going to give you guys players of the week, give you guys some games to watch this weekend, and wrap this show up with 3 up, 3 down. Obviously, last week we did Bundesliga. This week we're doing the Serie A. Kelcey's going to be on there, and it's going to be just me for this one. So be ready for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Wrap the show up in a pretty little bow. Might be a pretty short episode, so no 4 hour, no 2+ hour episode maybe, but we'll definitely get enough to get a good conversation going for this week's episode. So with all that being said, also follow us on social media. I don't know why I didn't get to that point. Follow us on social media: Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, at InsertNameFC. That's where you'll get all our stuff, all our dumb posts that we do there. We try to keep really consistent on that. If you guys want to see more cartoons, there you go. But yeah, aside from that, that is pretty much it. Hope you guys have a great Labor Day weekend. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a break and go right into. Let me tell you guys about BellyUpSports. BellyUpSports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. BellyUpSports is the premier, not your average website. All right, guys. So before I get to headlines, I'm going to go ahead and just go straight right into the whole thing. So it was announced that Barcelona will be playing a regular, like a regular match day in Miami. I'm trying to see who's the opponent. But yeah, it was announced. It got a lot of attention for this. Yeah, so it is being contested though, which respectively show. So yeah, Barcelona and Villarreal were planned to have a La Liga match in Miami in late 2025. So at some point this year, and they were to be playing a match. But there's a lot of people that aren't all in favor of this whole ordeal. Now, and I don't think this is the only case. I think the Premier League was also talking. I think the Premier League also is going to have some matches here in the U.S. I think that was just a preseason, though. It wasn't an actual, like... For preseason, I totally say it's fine. Preseason, who cares where you're playing? But it's kind of the same thing I feel for the NFL. For instance, if you guys don't know, NFL do have international games played. They have a game in Brazil. They have a game in London. I believe they did Germany. They've done Germany. I think this year they're going to have a game in Spain. They've also had games in Mexico, which I think is cool. Obviously there is fandom in the NFL for a lot of, across the world. It's not just, I know it's mostly U.S., but there is still some people that have gained some interest in American football. And so obviously, they decided to play a regular season game or match in an international location, which is, I mean, I understand the appeal of trying to get people from across the world, spread the game and all that stuff, and I think that's perfectly fine. And I understand, once again, the untapped market. Well, not really untapped. I think it's very clear that the U.S. does have a lot of fandom in football, and the reason why, and I'm talking about football, not American football, and and people are always like, oh, well, look how the MLS games are attended, look how the U.S. men's national team games are attended. It's because that's not really the fan base. MLS fans, like someone that does like the Houston Dynamo, it's not really as popular. The MLS is just not as popular. It's just point blank. Now, are people going to go out of their way to come see Barcelona in Hard Rock Cafe Stadium in Miami? You bet. It's going to be packed with Barcelona fans. Same thing if Real Madrid were to play here. It's going to be packed because it's Real Madrid, and vice versa for any large market team. So the Manchesters, the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Chelseas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because there is a massive fandom because of how the club's outreach is so massive across the world. And it's not just, once again, it's not just U.S., it's also across the world how popular those teams are. And the thing that I don't like, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I don't really like too much that the NFL does it, but I understand at least why they do it, and it's because in all actuality, it takes a home game away from a team. For instance, well, for this case being, this is supposed to be that match is supposed to be a home game for Villarreal. So that is a home game for Villarreal, which I would say probably would be pretty crucial for them to have it in Villarreal, being that it is Barcelona. Now you move it here to Miami, you're not going to have as many Villarreal fans. So it's not going to be a home game for Villarreal. It's going to be a home game for Barcelona because there's going to be a lots of Barcelona fans. And also makes sense for Miami because just obviously Lionel Messi's in Miami. But that's the thing that it hurts Villarreal because, versus I think, and I believe they're one of the teams that's protest. Actually, a lot of the teams are protesting this, not just Real Madrid, but a lot of teams in La Liga are protesting this, and I would imagine Villarreal is also on that same boat. Even Mark Ter Stegen even has had some comments on this, but the reality is you're taking a home game away from a team that probably would view this as, hey, I need to get as much as an advantage as I can, and playing it at home is my best advantage as I can in this scenario. I understand that Villarreal is probably not viewed as a contender to a club like Barcelona, but once again, anything can happen, especially in those away games. And you're taking that away from Villarreal because you're taking away their home match to have it here in Miami. If to be all in real fairness, I would say have it be Barcelona's home game. You take, because once again, it's going to be a home match for Barcelona. I would not argue it if that's the case. Like, same thing, like if someone's going to tell me, what about for Real Madrid? Yeah, same thing. If they're going to have a match for Real Madrid, they're going to play it in New York or something. Let it be a home game for Real Madrid. Yes, playing in the Bernabeu is a stronghold for Real Madrid, but once again, they have the fandom across the world that anywhere they go is going to be a home match for them. This regardless who they play, and even so to me, like I think especially with the way La Liga is, it's those road games are important, and so I think it could hurt those teams, and specifically this is going to hurt Villarreal because once again it's supposed to be a home game for them. I'm going to assume that they're going to treat it as a home game for Villarreal, and in all actuality, it's not a home game for Villarreal because they're going to be surrounded by Barcelona fans. Maybe sprinkle a few yellow kits around there, but in reality, it's going to be full of Barcelona fans. And so anyone that, obviously, if you're watching the video version, you see me wearing a Real Madrid kit. As a Madrista, I'm still saying this as well. Like it is a load of crap. It does suck. And if Real Madrid were to be, yes, I will try to go out of my way to go to that match, but because let's be honest, any chance I get to watch Real Madrid live, I'm going to take it. But I do realize the hypocrisy. I do realize the bullshit of them playing here, playing anywhere that's not at their home soil. And it's La Liga. It should be played in Spain. I think just point proven. Once again, and I understand they're trying to spread the game in the U.S., trying to gain some attention, obviously leading to the World Cup that's going to be here in the U.S., and that's all fine and dandy, but in the reality is you really don't need much hype for the World Cup. The World Cup is going to be packed. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about what happened with the Club World Cup. Don't worry about Copa America. The World Cup is going to be packed. I haven't not seen a World Cup not be packed. So I think that there's no need to promote a World Cup because it's really easy to promote it. I think for this whole just this idea in general, I think once again it hurts Villarreal. You're giving Barcelona basically 2 home matches against Villarreal. And that's obviously not really fair. And I think I totally get why all these teams are going to dispute this and hope that it gets overturned and this match doesn't happen. At least not in Miami. At least it will be played in Villarreal as it should be. So yeah, I think it's a crock of crap. I think it shouldn't happen like that. It's unfair to Villarreal. yes, I understand that both teams will be traveling to the U.S. and I understand that logic, but at the same time, the circumstance of the fact that Vieira will not have a home match, that will not be a home match. I'm sure there's Villarreal fans in the U.S. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I would say the ratio to a Villarreal fan here in the U.S. versus Barcelona fan is probably like 1 to 50, and it might be 50 might be being it might be a low number too, by the way, because it is Barcelona. It's one of the bigger brands in the sport, so yeah, it's one of the largest clubs in the sport, and the names are everything. You obviously Lamine Yamal, and then on top of that, it's in Miami. Messi's gonna show up, so obviously not to play, but to attend to watch his former club, his boyhood club. So maybe not. Well, yeah, he played out of the academy. But yeah, so I think it sucks. I feel for the for Villarreal. I hope it doesn't happen. And this is someone that would love to see matches be played here in the U.S. But in reality, not regular season. Like even the ideas of Champions League. Like I know they've been bringing up like Champions League finals being played here in the U.S. Like that sounds cool, but I don't know, man. Just keep that. It's Europe. It's an UEFA competition. It should be in Europe. Like I don't. This also goes back. And that's even my whole thing with the Spanish Super Cup. Like why is it being played in Saudi Arabia? Like I mean I know why, money, but like it's the Spanish Super Cup. It should be played in Spain. That's all I really gotta say for that. But yeah, hopefully it's overturned and hopefully Barcelona Villarreal is being played in Villarreal. But we'll see what happens there, man. But all right, Paxton Aaronson, he makes a big move to the Colorado Rapids. So just so you guys know, Paxton Aaronson is the little brother of Brendan Aaronson, who currently plays at Leeds United. Both these brothers came out of Philadelphia Union's academy. Obviously, Brendan Aaronson played at least a season with Philadelphia, then made his move to RB Salzburg, which he then went to Leeds United, and now is playing for Leeds United. Paxton Aaronson, I believe, didn't really play, maybe didn't even play a whole season at Philadelphia, at least as a senior player. Gets a move to Eintracht Frankfurt. And as he was playing in Frankfurt, still very young, he still is young, and he goes to Frankfurt, can't really break through the first team, so he gets sent on loan to the Eredivisie to Vitesse. In that season, I don't really know how well he performed there, but comes back still once again. Maybe not ready yet to play for Frankfurt, which I would say Frankfurt, in a Bundesliga sense, is a formidable club, and so still can't break through the first team. So he gets in on loan again. This back to the Eredivisie, but this time is playing for Utrecht, and that season he actually has a standout year. As a matter of fact, he wins the award for the best young. He wins the award for Young Player of the Year for the Eredivisie, which, I mean, if you know anything about Eredivisie, they definitely know how to develop players. It is a good stepping stone league for guys that are ready to take the next level. Obviously, clubs like Ajax, PSV, Feyenoord are some of the names that the clubs that you think of right away right now with the Eredivisie. And so for a guy like Paxton Aaronson to be able to be a standout in the Eredivisie, once again, a very commendable league, especially when it comes to youth development. And you would expect, all right, he's now getting the tools, and I believe now he's getting call-ups with the U.S. men's national team as well. So you're like, all right, things are kind of clicking for him. Maybe now he's ready to go to Frankfurt, and if not obviously and compete for a starting role, maybe coming off the bench role, at least right now. I think once again, if you're seeing the progression, you're seeing that he's improving. No, that's not happening. It doesn't even happen to stay at Frankfurt, because the Colorado Rapids go in and put in a club record signing. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but He joins the Colorado Rapids, obviously as a DP. If you guys don't know what a DP is, not that you nasties, a designated player. So if you guys don't know, MLS, they allow to have 3 designated players on your club's roster, which those players are basically not counted towards the salary cap. So these guys usually get paid a pretty substantial amount of money to be on the club. And obviously, and normally these are the guys that are going to be your best players. And obviously Colorado was looking for a new 10, a new designated player, because they shipped out Djordje Mihailovic over to Toronto FC. For what? I have no idea. But they did. Now, Djordje Mihailovic kind of has some similarities to that of Paxton Aaronson, which went to go test himself at Europe. I believe it was AZ Alkmaar, which is Eredivisie as well. Just couldn't really find the form, couldn't find himself with the club, couldn't really put himself in a position with the club. So he comes back to Colorado, essentially to get a bounce back. And, now he's on to Toronto FC. The only thing that's different, obviously, is that Paxton Aaronson's coming off of a good year in the Eredivisie. And I think that's where the conflict now comes, is the fact that you're hitting the marks of progression, right? As a young player, as a young American player, I don't like emphasizing that, but you kind of have to emphasize it on it for this aspect, because you want to see play, especially if you're a U.S. men's national team supporter, you want to see these guys excel in Europe. I don't want to say excel, but perform in Europe. You want to see them doing well. You want to see them testing themselves, competing, putting themselves out of their comfort zones to showcase that they are a quality player and they could compete amongst the ranks of Europe. If Frankfurt wasn't going to be an ideal spot for him, I would have loved to seen him make a move, maybe to like a mid-table side, maybe a mid-table side in Italy, maybe in the Premier League, maybe in La Liga, preferably La Liga, just so we can see more improvement on his technical ability. That's what you want to see, right? The progression, right? And I don't want this turning into a jabbing session of the MLS, but I just don't right now. I just don't see the MLS as a place where, especially in a World Cup year, Paxton Aaronson has ambitions to try to make the World Cup roster, at least be as a fringe player. And you're going into the MLS. Your season's not going to start till so you're going to finish out the season. Obviously, it's September. I think September, October is usually where the season wraps up in MLS, and then you got playoffs. And then playoffs finishes like a little bit into December. You take a break, and then you don't start the season until March. And so that's like the kind of the tough part for me right now, because you need to be playing, and especially in that final couple months before the World Cup starts, you need to be playing. You need to get yourself be in the best condition possible to compete in the World Cup. And I think that that's my concern. I need him to be in that as if following the European calendar, because the big issue right now is the MLS isn't following the European calendar right now. I know there's talks that they're going to move on to a European calendar. I don't know when that's going to be, how or when they're going to choose. Like, are they going to start, after this season? And if that's the case, then we're definitely not going to have any matches come March, unless they have something planned, like a quick little short tournament, short season kind of thing. But so that's the scenario that MLS is in. I do believe they're going. I don't really know. You can't tell me. I really don't know what to believe for MLS, but it's just a weird point for him to choose. Now, I know that Matt Turner, like I said, this guy needs to come to MLS, and that was the big issue, was just he needs to be playing. And hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canada Dips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip, using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canada Dip CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BellyUp20 at CanadipCBD.com. Once again, BellyUp20 at CanadipCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canadips for being a great partner of Belly Up Sports. And I could probably make this, the same argument could be made for him. And I think it's because I really hope I don't see Paxton. I don't want to see Matt Turner in the U.S. men's national team anymore. But like with Paxton Aaronson, there's some potential here. I think that there's some upside. I think he brings a certain thing to the game, and I think with improving on his technical ability, he could be pretty well. Now, Colorado is in a playoff push right now. They're at least poised to be in the playoffs. They're kind of a weird team. Does Paxton Aaronson solve that for me? Maybe. I mean, I don't think it changes too much for Djordje Mihailovic versus him as far as what Djordje Mihailovic was doing for Colorado. Maybe not so much this season. I really haven't really been tracking Colorado because Colorado's just a team that I have absolutely no interest in. I'll watch them when I watch them, but they're a weird team. They're a weird team to me. But I know Colorado, like I said, they are in a playoff push. I don't know if he played yesterday, but they did lose 3-0 to the LA Galaxy, which not a very good LA Galaxy, by the way. I just wanted to mention that. Paxton Aaronson did play. I just don't know how many minutes he played. He played like 32 minutes. But yeah, with them in the standings, they're currently in 7th. So right now, obviously they need to keep winning games and probably avoid being in that wild card spot. But they are at least poised for a playoff position. And I guess they're hoping that, with losing Djordje Mihailovic at the 10 role, that Paxton Aaronson could essentially be that guy for them. And he probably could be. He probably is. Like, I'm not taking that away from him. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just think that him coming back to MLS, it's just unfortunate. I think that I saw the progression for him. Obviously, once again, they don't just give out, Eredivisie Young Player of the Year awards to just anybody. And so that's the part that kind of sucks. I wish he would have at least tried, But you know what? Sometimes the players got to go look after for what's best for them. And maybe he thinks Colorado's his best interest for him. And so, I mean, I guess I can't hate it too much for him, but I am going to hate too much for it. Because, I mean, like I said, I want these guys competing in the most competitive environments as humanly possible so that they're sharp when it comes to the World Cup. And once again, and this is great, obviously we're talking about a guy that's, I would consider a fringe U.S. men's national team player. Like, he may or may not make the roster in 2026. I believe he could make the roster. I think maybe there are some guys that you could put over him, and I get it. But wouldn't you want to put yourself in the best position possible to be selected? And if you think MLS is that, then I guess I can't front on it. I can't hate it on it too much. But I just wish he would have kept himself in Europe and kept testing and pushing himself. But and once again, I say it like this as if like MLS is like the end all be all, but the end of the end of the road. But I mean, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe Landon Donovan's happy. Maybe this is his chance to prove that coming back to the MLS isn't a terrible thing. But we'll see what happens for him. We'll see if this helps Colorado put themselves in a prime position for a playoff push, for a strong playoff push where maybe they make it to the MLS Cup. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens there with Colorado. Also, what happened this past couple days is Eberechi. Ezzy. All right. Ezzy is leaving Crystal Palace. So, Crystal Palace obviously had I'm not going to say fantastic season, but they did win the FA Cup for the first time and then started off the year strong by winning the Community Shield. Once again, take that for what you want. I know some people have some theories about the Community Shield winning. But Crystal Palace, people thought that they would have a chance to qualify for the Europa League, being that they won the FA Cup. That didn't end up happening. They are still going to be in the Europa Conference League. Now, I'm not saying that this is the reason behind Ezzy, and I think Guehi is also on the way out as well. No, I don't think that is entirely true. But yeah, but I mean, once again, Ezzy, who is a standout player, was a standout player for Crystal Palace. And you know, once again, when it comes down to these leagues, teams like Crystal Palace, teams like um, any of those teams that are in that conversation, maybe competing for those Europa Conference League, Europa League spots, mid-table sides. I don't want to say that, but it just seems so mean. But that's pretty much kind of where you go. When you tend to have good players, you tend to lose them very quickly. Bournemouth is a prime example, right? Like, had a really good year, had a strong year last season. Better, I guess, strong year for them. And what happens? You lose almost your entire back line. As a matter of fact, you lost almost your entire back line besides Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez. Julian Araujo. And so that it just happens. And I think obviously Ezzy and of course Guehi are two guys that are really good at the positions. And so, teams are going to come and knocking. And the team that was coming and knocking for Ezzy was Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham, who wants, Heung-min Son is now at LAFC, so they were looking for their a new winger, right? A guy that can come in and take over that Heung-min Son role. And I guess they saw Ezzy as that potential guy to be the guy to help with the attack. Which, by the way, Tottenham, not bad for your first couple games. And I think that's like and the thing was, the whole time it's been Tottenham. The whole time it was being discussed, Tottenham was the team that was very much in on Ezzy, and it seemed that very much that Ezzy was going to join Tottenham. As a matter of fact, that's what all the announcers were talking about. How, yeah, Ezzy, this might be his last match with Crystal Palace, as he's potentially going to Tottenham Hotspur. That's all we were hearing. And then in comes Arsenal. So Arsenal is in a really interesting situation this season. Obviously, we talked about it for the Premier League previews. It is very much win or lose, win or go home, basically, for Mikel Arteta. I think that the pressure is very much on him that he needs to somehow win a trophy. And one of the bigger gripes that this team has had, not so much defensively, but one of the bigger gripes on this team has been the front. And they got that address with Victor Gyökeres from Sporting, and which, by the way, he scored 2 goals this in this previous match. But the left side of the wing could be maybe kind of lacklustering at times. No offense to to my adopted son Gabriel Martinelli, but there's been it's been very inconsistent over there. I know Trossard has been very commendable, but just once again just needs to be more consistent on that side of the wing, which I think Arsenal had some ideas for where they wanted to go with it. I know one of the big rumors was them going after Rodrigo. I think once they realized that Rodrigo door was near the end, they kind of focused their sights on other potential wingers. And at the end, it just came down to, hey, why not get this Ezzy guy? Which, by the way, I believe was from Arsenal's academy system. I believe he was released at 13 years old. And so, it's kind of funny when you think about it. You could have had this player this whole time. But once again, you never know, man. You never know when the academy levels, like, who's going to really stand out. Sometimes the best 13-year-old isn't going to be the best, 20-year-old. That's just the way it goes. But Ezzy has clearly been a standout for Crystal Palace. A lot of people have viewed as the no duh, need to go get this guy kind of thing to your team. Now, a lot of people are saying or wondering, do Arsenal really need this guy? Yes, they do. And I think that once again, it's been very inconsistent over on the left side of the field, on the left side. And I think now that you address the 9 spot, you need to get some consistency on that left side of the wing, and I think that's exactly what they win now. Now, I know there's concerns for Odegaard and Saka from their previous match against Leeds United that there might be hurt. Don't know too much yet about that one, but Um, you might say that the front now, like, Arsenal's looking pretty strong on all sides of the field. At least, defensively they were very strong. Midfield looks pretty good, and now the attack, you feel confident, right? Like, this is all the pieces that hopefully all you need to win something. Not saying what they can win. What I'm not saying they're win the Premier League. Not saying FA Cup or Carabao Cup or even Champions League, but you have the tools. And at this point, once again, like I said, it's win or go home at this point for Mikel Arteta. For me, he needs to have a trophy by the end of the season. That's my opinion. Now, obviously, I'm not the board. I'm not Arsenal's board. I can't really tell you what they're thinking. But you don't make moves like this unless you know for a fact that you need to make something happen. And so that's my theory on that one. Do I think this is the missing piece for Arsenal? I don't want to say missing piece. I think Victor Gyökeres I would view more as the missing piece because I've been harping on a 9 for a long time. But getting consistent play on the left wing, which obviously we're not going to know until we see him on the pitch, it was something that needed to be addressed, and I think this is how you address it. And on top of that, you get to troll Tottenham even more because, and I mean, you can hear him, all the interviews that he's had so far. He loves the move to Arsenal. He says that it was the perfect move for him. It was a dream come true. Blah blah blah, all that stuff. Like, take it for the grain of salt. If you want to believe it, believe it. But if not, that's fine too. But I think that this was a good move for Arsenal. This is a good move for the club. And hopefully it results in something because, like I said, I do think it's win or go home for Mikel Arteta. That's just my opinion. All right. Last headline is Vinicius Jr. So there is a lot of talks about Vinny's contract, which is funny because his contract doesn't expire until 2027. But Real Madrid wants to secure him till 2030. And I think I get where they're coming from because
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of BellyUpSports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
The reason why I get where they're coming from is because he, obviously, you can talk about last year. Did he get robbed of the Ballon d'Or? I don't know. I don't personally feel that way, but I know that there's some people that do feel that way. But I think for his scenario, he's had standout performances on standout performances. He's definitely not the reason why Real Madrid had the season that they had last year. But obviously he didn't also help. But obviously you want to secure a guy that you would view as one of your top players on your team. Once again, you still have until 2027, but I think it's crazy. It's not crazy to think about trying to add more years onto his contract, especially when you don't know if his price tag could get much higher. And I think that's where they're concerned. When you have a player like Vinny, you kind of want to get him on a contract already, so because that price could increase by the time it's 2027. So I understand where they're coming at. Now, Vinny's representation, they would like a deal around 20 million euros, $23 million if you want to hear the U.S. Side of it. With bonuses that can be up to 30 million euros, $35 million. So essentially a contract that's worth 20 mil with the potential of jumping up 10 mil in euros with bonuses. So Real Madrid saw their 20 with no add-ons. So they were just like, all right, we'll pay you the 20 mil. We're not giving you bonuses though. and I get the bonuses. It would essentially, God dang, essentially incentivize um, Vinny to perform well, I guess. But obviously, Fiorentina. I think the thing is with Fiorentino Perez is he does not want to. This is like it's a weird thing that Real Madrid's doing now. They're not essentially spending as much. They're still spending money, but they're not essentially they're not splurging out like they used to. Obviously have been getting guys on free contracts, right? Or essentially free contracts. Obviously they paid a little more to get Trent Alexander-Arnold in for the Club World Cup. But that's what Real Madrid is doing now, right? So, and I think that could be a combination of things. Financial fair play could be could be a concern, or maybe Fiorentino Perez just wants to be more effective with the club spending, especially when you're adding a guy like Kylian Mbappe onto the team. And once again, there's going to be more names, coming up as well, obviously. So being able to lock in Vinny to that 20 mil a year deal could, in the longevity side, one, you secure a top player, but two, you lock them into an amount where you can live with to then go out and get players. And obviously, Vinny's camp don't care. They don't care at all. They're like, no, that's too small. Even though that's the amount that they agreed annually, but obviously they want the bonuses. They want the incentives to be there. Why am I playing besides getting 20 million a year? What is my reason to keep playing? Do I think that this is going to cause a fallout with the team? I don't know. Obviously, there was some talks because of this previous match for Real Madrid. Vinny was on the bench, which essentially Xabi Alonso, the way he's playing is you're going to press, you're going to come back and defend. We're not gonna be exploited by the counter. We're going to press high, but we're going to move accordingly when it comes time to be on the defensive side of the ball. So, if you're not in for it, I'm not going to put you out there. Which, I mean, you saw, Rodrigo played in this game. Kylian Mbappe started. Vinny did come in, but it was one of those. It was interesting, but I do like what's going on with Real Madrid, especially how they're playing defensively. Hopefully, they can keep playing like that. But I think once again, people are just trying to fabricate these like tensions between him and Mbappe. Who's going to be the guy? Like blah blah blah, all this crap. I don't know if it's all true or not, but I mean, I guess if you keep talking enough, maybe it is. But it's really important for Vinny's sake. I think he wants that if he wants a new contract, they need to do this for him. I think in some aspect, Real Madrid doesn't really have to do this because the fact is that they already have him locked in until 2027. But obviously, I think if you could secure him to 2030. Once again, it just bodes well for them, right? At least that's the logic behind it. I think it's going to be ongoing. I think eventually a deal will come in for Vinicius Jr. Shoot, maybe by the time this episode already drops, this whole conversation is completely pointless because he already signed a new deal. But it's gonna be telling about where it goes from there. I don't think it's essentially Real Madrid picking a side. Like I don't think if Vinny doesn't sign a contract, they're choosing Kylian Mbappe over him, or whatever the two goes. I know a lot of people have theories that it's one or the other. It's not you can't have both kind of theories. I think it's a crock of shit. I think that they've been playing very well together. As a matter of fact, Vinicius did get an assist to Mbappe. So I don't think that it's really like how people perceive it to be. I don't think Vinicius Jr. is essentially as selfish as he is, as people believe. I don't think all that stuff. I think that he does love this club, and I think he just wants to get the best deal humanly possible for him, and I can respect that. I can also understand Real Madrid trying to get an effective contract that benefits them and the player. But at the end of the day, like I do think a deal is going to be agreed on. I don't think it's gonna take that long at all. Like I don't I don't like. This is just people trying to fabricate a story. That's really what it is. Like like I said, I don't think that there's any animosity between Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. Just as like I don't really believe that there was any animosity between Mbappe and Messi and Neymar when he was at PSG. Like does Mbappe want to be the guy? Yes. Does he want to be the guy with that everyone turns to? Yes. Does he want the ball? Yes. But I don't think. But I think he knows that if you want to win in football, you need to work as a team, and I don't think he's a moron. So I don't. So at the same time, I think for Vinicius Jr., a deal will come down. I just don't know when. Probably could have already happened right now, but I don't. I think people are gonna read in as much as he can. Whenever he gets put on the bench instead of starting, people are gonna talk about it. When as a matter of fact, he started mouthing off the referee. So like, all that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and then it's just gonna create storylines that people are gonna want to create and talk about. And because it's Vinicius Jr., it's because of his Real Madrid. It's gonna be discussed. Like, does he want to be here? Does he like Mbappe? Does he like this? Does he want out? Does he want to go to Saudi Arabia? Does blah blah blah? All that stuff is gonna get thrown out, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think a deal will be agreed upon between Real Madrid and Vinicius Jr., and he will be a Madridista for life, or until Real Madrid eventually kicks him out in a very ugly and horrible fashion. So we'll see what happens there, man. But all right, guys, we'll go ahead and take a break and then go right into Players of the Week.
Fight and win!
All right, Players of the Week is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an amazing ticketing app, website, however you use it. It has a wide variety of events that you can choose from sporting events to concerts. It's got you, if it's live, it's going to be there at SeatGeek. Me and Edward, we love SeatGeek. We use it for everything. For all the matches I go to, when I want to go see the Dynamo, we went to go see Tigres versus Inter Miami, where Messi was not even in the area. All that, we go to SeatGeek. As a matter of fact, I went to go see Metallica. SeatGeek helped me to get my tickets to go see Metallica. So it's very simple to use. It has a color scale along with a number scale. If the number is really high and it's very green, that means for these prices, for this seat, you're getting a great deal. Go ahead and enjoy your event. Now, if it's very red and super low, that means whoever's trying to sell you these tickets are giving you a raw deal. Keep scrolling through the app. You're going to find one. I guarantee it. I love the simplicity of SeatGeek, and you should too. But if you're not sold just yet, if you use the code BellyUpSports at checkout, it'll save you $20 off for your first purchase at SeatGeek. Some exclusions may apply. But I love SeatGeek. Go ahead and check it out, man. Go to SeatGeek.com. Use that code BellyUpSports. Save yourself $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. My player of the week is Riccardo Calafiori, who had 2 assists in Arsenal's 5-0 win against Leeds United. This is just 2 back-to-back good performances from him. I think, once again, him continuing his form, I think, was worth pointing out. He did score a goal in the match against Manchester United last week, but we're talking about the Leeds United game, and I think creating 2 assists as a defender is pretty huge. So Riccardo Calafiori is my player of the week. Edwards' player of the week is Harry Kane, who scored a hat-trick in Bayern Munich's 6-0 victory against RB Leipzig, making a huge statement to kick off the Bundesliga season for Bayern Munich, which, once again, I have complete and total faith that they're going to win the Bundesliga. But with all that being said, man, congratulations to Riccardo Calafiori and Harry Kane for being our players of the week. If you guys go ahead and check out SeatGeek.com, use that code BellyUpSports. For first-time users, save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek Life's an event. We have the tickets. All right, guys, we do have some games to watch this weekend in Mexico. We got America versus Pachuca. It's going to be a very juicy matchup right there. Make sure you guys be on the lookout for that one. We also got Sporting Lisbon taking on FC Porto in the Portuguese League. Yeah, we're going to throw in some other leagues in there every once in a while, too. This is a rivalry. This is a derby. Go ahead and watch it if you guys have the chance. See a little bit about Portuguese football, man. Go ahead and check it out. It's going to be a good, juicy one right there. championship stipulations. It's still early in the season, but still, this can decide who wins the Portuguese League. We got LAFC versus San Diego FC, who just clinched a playoff berth. That's right. San Diego FC, the new team in MLS, have already clinched their playoff spot. But can LAFC, can Heung-min Son make a strong statement against this San Diego team? We'll see what happens there. And then we got Old Firm Derby, Rangers, Celtic in the Scottish Premier League. It is one of the oldest. It is one of the scariest. It is one of the toughest rivalries, toughest derbies in all of football. It is one to watch. Right now, Celtic looks very formidable. Rangers look very terrible. But still, it is a derby. All form goes to the wayside. Go watch it. It's going to be juicy. I've always enjoyed watching the Old Firm Derby. You should too. So make sure you guys check that out. In Ligue 1, we got Toulouse versus PSG and Lyon versus Marseille. So really juicy one there. We'll see how that pans out in Ligue 1. It's a derby as well, Lyon versus Marseille. In the Bundesliga, we got FC Augsburg taking on Bayern Munich and VfB Stuttgart versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. Do we see Gio Reyna, who just joined Borussia Mönchengladbach? Do we see him there? I hope so. In the Serie A, we got Lecce versus AC Milan. AC Milan put on a dookie performance in the first opening day. We'll see how they do this time around against Lecce. And apparently that's all I got for Serie A. In La Liga, we got Valencia versus Getafe and Real Betis versus Athletic Club Bilbao. So a really juicy one there, juicy games in La Liga. And in the Premier League, we got Sunderland versus Brentford and Liverpool versus Arsenal. A very, very interesting matchup, a big test for Arsenal. Can they beat last year's champion? And can Liverpool get one on Arsenal? Once again, when we talk about, yes, this is early on in the season, but this could be, when you look back at it, could be the deciding factor on who wins the Premier League. So be on the lookout for that. It's not all the matches that are being played this weekend, but if you guys need a good beginner's guide, I think we gave you guys some good matches. So we're going to go ahead and take a break and then go right into 3 Up, 3 Down, the Serie A kits with Kelcey Coyne and then later on myself.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at BellyUpSports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
What's up, everybody? It's Kelcey yet again. Hector has asked me to come back and talk some more 3 Ups and 3 Downs. That's right. We are doing Serie A, the Italian league. Yeah, the place where they ban heavy green jerseys. So you can use green accents, but you can't use a lot of green in the design. No, I do love a lot of Serie A jerseys, and these might be the hardest kits I've had to pick for my 3 Up and 3 Downs because Italy, fashion capital of the world outside of Paris. You know, France was hard with Ligue 1. Serie A is going to be hard. You know, they have Milan Fashion Week. That means there's got to be some great fashion in these designs. I did have a difficult time finding the ups because there were so many options. The downs, though, well, they're down. That's the best way I can say it. I'm going to start with my first downs, and then we'll go from there. So my number 1 down is Fiorentina's home kit. Now, you've heard me say in the past, if you've ever watched me do these 3 Up and 3 Downs, I love a good purple kit. This is not it. It kind of looks like they just slapped the purple on the front or put a bib over top of a white kit. It's just what it looks like to me. I might be wrong, but when you have white going a quarter of the sleeve up on both sides of it and then all the way down to the hip, to the bottom of the kit, top, and then you got purple slapped over the top of it, I don't love it. I just don't love it. I don't love it if it's American football jerseys. I don't love it if it's the rest of the world's football. I don't like these type of purple kits because it just looks like somebody put a bib over the top of a white shirt. Not a great look. Never liked that look, whether it be baseball, football, basketball. I don't care. Don't love that look whatsoever. I usually love Fiorentina's jerseys. I really do. I usually love their purple designs. They don't usually miss with that purple. There's usually purple gold of some sort, purple cream, or sublimation design. There's a lot of great options usually for Fiorentina, and this one just doesn't work for me. I would have much preferred a just straight purple shirt if you were going to do this with white collar, white sleeve markings. That's fine. But this is just not it. I don't love this one. Next up on my downs, though, is the Lecce third kit. Yeah, Lecce and I have a love-hate relationship because they use a lot of red and yellow, which is crazy because your logo, your badge is mostly blue. And you leave the blue out to focus on the red and yellow. So Lecce's third kit is all red, and not like a dull, heavy red, a dark red. No, it is a bright red and a bright yellow. I've talked about this before. As a Liverpool fan, you know my hatred for these. Honestly, I probably could have picked their home kit and been just fine too with the yellow with the red fade, but at least the red fade looked okay. This is a solid yellow piping with a solid yellow collar, and everything is yellow and red on the badge, on the manufacturing logo, and on the sponsor logo, and it's too much red, it's too much bright yellow. Can we please stop? If this is gold, this looks a lot better. This is bright yellow. Yellow is not gold. Please, let's fix this, manufacturers. Just don't love it at all. Yeah, Lecce's third. This one could put me on the edge. I don't want to see this on the field at all. And then last but not least, my downs for Serie A. I'm going with Sassuolo Calcio's third kit. And now they tried. Let me start there. They tried really hard to make this look good. What kills me is the black underneath the armpits, down the side paneling. Honestly, if this was just the green and yellow tie-dye style with the black design, black sponsorship logo with the color matched, by the way, color matched badge, which looked fantastic, and the color matched the black, they actually just used the black manufacturing badge, I think this kit would look a lot better. But because they put the black side paneling, it ruins it for me because it splits up the design. You had a lot more design options, and it was like you copped out. It's like you're telling a story and you're like, oh, but a nuclear bomb fell and the story ends. Like, that's what this feels like as a kid. Like, you were almost there. This is the last season of Game of Thrones, if anybody remembers that. Don't love this. It was almost there. It was almost great. It was almost going to be my 3-ups category, but then I saw the piping and I saw the side panels and I couldn't do it. That's, again, I talked about with Fiorentina. It looks like there was a shirt underneath and they just put like, oh, here's a bib. You're so close. You're so close and you ruined it at the last second. So my 3 downs for Serie A again: Fiorentina's home, Lecce's third jersey, and Sassuolo Calcio's third kit as well. Now, going into my 3-ups, well, let's start with a place that's on a beautiful part of Italy. We're going with Como. That's right, it's on Lake Como, and their home kits, which has a reflection of, looks like moon on the water, which is a really cool aspect. When you look at Lake Como, you see that picture all the time, where you see the moon coming up over the water, and people take pictures of it, see all that. Honestly, I could have picked either Como kit. I do like both of them. I do feel like there are ways a little more of a training kit than anything. But their home kit, I really do like the design. I think that's a really interesting design. It's blue and white. Love that with a lot of designs. They don't always get that right, but it's multicolored blue, especially water designs. Sometimes those are struggles to make look good. The Como, surprising nobody, looks good when they put water on their kits. So go figure. Next up is going to be Juve of all teams, and that's right, we're going with their third kit. Now, I didn't want to pick their first two because for some reason they have Visit Detroit on them, which I find hilarious as a person who lives not very far from Detroit, that people from Juventus would want to travel to Detroit, Michigan. I don't know. Doesn't seem like they connect too well. But I do love their third kit, the black kit with the throwback design with the horse design here on the badge, with the color matched old Adidas trefoil design with the flower look, and then the sublimation designs. I absolutely love, as long as they don't go crazy with the sponsorship and not match it to the rest of the kit. I like these kits a lot. Honestly, put up a gold sponsor logo. That would be, or not gold or pink, since you have pink on the home kits. Either one works. But I do like these kits a lot. They're simple. I've liked Juve's third kit a lot recently, especially when they do these throwback styles, especially with the badge. I do like their throwback badge a lot. Now, last up in my 3-ups, but not least by any means, this might be my favorite of the 3-ups, is Napoli and their away kit. Now, I've talked about this before, white kits, cream kits. Those kits look really good with the right color scheme, and Napoli hit it out of the park with these ones. I love the cream, kind of off-white, eggshell white, whatever you want to call it, bone color. For American football fans, the LA Rams use that as well. And then it has a sublimation design, and the sublimation design looks beautiful. And then they have a dark gold, like an almost orange gold, as the sponsorship logo, as the badge, and as the manufacturer kit. And that, to me, looks so gorgeous together. And the sublimation isn't set standard in the middle. It kind of goes across the chest, which looks really cool. I really do like these, man. These are probably my favorite of all the Serie A jerseys this year. It's impressive what teams can do and what manufacturers can do when they're allowed to just design. Now, I got to say this about Napoli. I didn't love their third kit, but there were some worse third kits on this list, so they didn't get up there. But it was close that they almost did make the 3 downs for their third kit, because that was, brown. Not a great look. But anyways, my 3-ups again, recapping for Serie A. Como home, Juve's third, and Napoli's away kit, which was probably my favorite of the 3. Shout out Parma away, because their away kit also kind of cool. All right, guys, that does it for me. Hector, thank you again for having me on to talk some Serie A and some kits. I love to talk about the kits. You guys can check me out over on High Low Sports at high_low_sports on Twitter, High Low Sports on every other platform. We go live 8 p.m. Eastern time to talk a lot of different sports. Unfortunately, not as much of the world's football, but we do talk a lot of American football, especially going into football season. So be sure to check us out. Hector, thank you as always. And until next time you need me, I'll see you.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
All right, thanks, Kelcey, for coming on. And, guys, this is my 3-up, 3 down, and I'm going to start things off with my down. And kicking off, my third worst kit is Como's home kit. I know Kelcey just said a lot of nice things about it. I don't see the appeal. It looks a little messy to me. Not a fan of this kit. I mean, I get the waterfall and all that, the water stuff and all. That's all fine and dandy and cool. But, yeah, to me, it's just a messy kit. Messy as in just it looks dirty. Not messy as in, greatest player of all time, potentially. Not potentially, greatest player of all time. So, yeah, I don't like the kit. I know Kelcey likes the kit, says some good things about the kit. Not a fan of the kit. So, that is my third worst kit. My second worst kit is Inter Milan's fourth kit. Once again, just looks messy as hell. That's all I gotta say. I don't, and I'm not a big fan of the collar as well. So, yeah, just not a big fan of Inter Milan so far. Not a big fan of these kids. Inter Milan has some interesting ones. I can mixed feelings on all of them, but yeah. So that's where. So Inter Milan's my second worst kit. My first worst kit, and I actually agree with Kelcey, and that is Sassuolo's third kit. Yeah, I did not like this kit at all. It's just, I don't know what to call it, and it's crazy because their home and away kits are really nice, but this is, I don't know, this looks like, this is vomit. Like, this is literally vomit to me. So, yeah, this was the worst kit. I don't like it at all. And then my 3-ups, I have Sassuolo's home kit. I mean, this is just pure class. Away kit, you can say some good things as well. But, I mean, this is just class above all. Just pure class. I love it. Strong kit. Definitely one I would cop. My second kit is Atalanta's away kit. And, I mean, come on, man. Like, you just look at this thing and it's just, to me, it just screams class. It just screams class to me. It is just, it's nice. I just love the white. I mean, some people may not like it, but I like it. I think it's clean. I think New Balance did a great job with this one. Yeah, it may be plain, but I like the way it looks. I think this is a solid kit, and I would definitely cop this one for sure. And my number one kit is Parma. Parma's third kid. This is just it is as retro as it can be, and I am all for it. I would have loved if Gio Reyna was on here, because I would definitely be copying his kid. But this is a beautiful kid. I ain't gonna lie. I might be trying to get this kid. This is really clean. It gives me a retro vibe. It gives me 90s vibes. And I think that's what I love it the most. That's just a 90s kid. This is just a beautiful kid, and I can't wait to see it played. Being rocked on the pitch. But yeah, so those are my 3 up, 3 downs. Yeah. Some people may not like them. Some people may disagree with me. That's totally fine. Obviously this is all preference. But I do like these kids, and I don't like those kids. So, yeah. So we'll go ahead and take a break, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this show up.
I'm a pupusa man myself. Better than tacos to me. I gotta go with them.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to episode 227. Hopefully it was a short episode for you guys. Hopefully this was easier to be digestible. But obviously, Belly Up Sports, man, check them out, dude. BellyUpSports.com. Great articles that are constantly written on all sports across the country and some internationally. But check it out, great stuff. Check them out on X and on Instagram at BellyUpSports, so you can see everything that they're doing, and also kind of sharing some love on some of their programming. Check out their YouTube channel, Belly Up Sports. Check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. Go ahead and support, grow this channel up, and let's make Belly Up better than any other sports network. And speaking of things support, GolzTV, GolzTV. If you guys love finding soccer content, but you just have trouble finding it, well, go to Golz.tv, 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 and you'll see a ton of content of U.S.-made soccer content. If you guys are a fan of a certain MLS side, if you're a fan of MLS in general, there is stuff there for you. If you're into FUT, if you're into trading cards, if you're into USL, if you're into whatever you're into when it comes to the sport of soccer here in the USA, go watch it there. You want to watch Insert Name FC, you want to watch, Wake Up MLS, go check it out, man. It is over there. Check them out at the X at Golz_TV, GOZ_TV, and on Instagram at Golz.tv, GOZ.tv. We love what they're doing, man, and we hope that we continue helping it grow over there at Golz. And also, speaking of what people we love to grow, Roosevelt Spencer. If you guys love the intros, the outros, and you guys just can't get enough of it, and maybe you guys need some beat work of your own, well, hit up Roosevelt Spencer. We love him so much that he is the namesake of the Roosevelt Spencer Player of the Year award. That's how much we love him. He's a legend. Can't say it enough. So, if you guys need some beat works, hit him up on Instagram at ThatGuyDope. Once again, at ThatGuyDope, and he will take great care of you like he always does with us. With all that being said, man, thank you so much for listening to episode 227. Catch us next week for episode 228, where hopefully Edwards is not sick. So, take care, guys.